As we all know, there's hundreds of to-do apps out there and they're a staple for a lot of people on a lot of devices. Well, once known for being a terrible to-do app, Apple has in the recent years revamped their Reminders app to make it somewhat competitive with others out there. But can it really compete against the best of the best? Todoist has been highly regarded for years as the best to-do app out there, so I put them both through their paces to see which one was better. If you aren't subscribed to the channel and love tech as much as I do, consider subscribing. I'd very much appreciate it. So to figure out once and for all whether Apple's Reminders app is in any way useful compared to the top to-do app on the App Store, we have to first figure out a simple chart to evaluate each app on. I'm going to give each category a score from 1 to 10, and then at the end I'll tally the rankings and give you all the definitive list. First up is how intuitive/easy to use it is. How long does it take me to write a simple to-do and add a date on it? Now first, on the Reminders app, ease of use is all there. Entering the app is smooth, clicking on the plus button and then typing something out is as well, and putting a date, attachment, or location is all pretty easy. When adding a to-do with a date, both apps surprisingly had exactly 5 taps to get there and around the same amount of time. Adding any sort of attachment in each app is pretty easy as well, so I'd say ease of use is right about tied, so I gave them both a 10. Looking at the calendar features they both have, there is a slight difference because Todoist, since it's a standalone app, shows its own calendar in the app, but Reminders, since it's part of the Apple ecosystem, doesn't. But it does automatically add each task to your native calendar app. Nevertheless, I was pleasantly surprised at Todoist calendar features. Although they both do have the today view, they do it quite differently. They both throw out all 3 tasks in the same way, but Apple does allow you to group them by morning, afternoon, and night in case that's something you prefer. As for sorting and grouping, Todoist takes the cake. Todoist allows you to change the layout, sort it by grouping or other sorting categories, as well as filter with many options of how to do so. Now, something I did find is that although Todoist does have a few more options in the sorting, grouping, and filtering department, Apple's Reminders still has a lot of options and it has the most key ones. Todoist's extra features are ones that I don't think many people would use, but they're obviously good to have. As for the upcoming section, Apple calls it the scheduled section, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's the section that shows the tasks that aren't due today, but are due sometime in the future. Now here, I'm gonna have to give it to Todoist as well. I feel that Apple's Reminders in this section is pretty clunky and not very intuitive. It looks cluttered, hard to read, and could get confusing with a lot of tasks really easily. Apart from the fact that Todoist shows you the calendar right there, which you're able to expand or keep compressed, as well as offering you the ability to look at the upcoming in a weekly layout with the Pro plan. Now, I'm not really considering the Pro plan to make this a fair test, but it's an option they offer. Todoist again lets you filter, sort, and group, while Apple only allows you to select, show completed, or print. With that being said, on the whole calendar and upcoming features, I give Todoist a really high 10 and I give Apple Reminders a 7. I think Reminders does have the basic things, but Todoist just has a lot more variety. Moving on to notification reminders, I won't stick too long on this topic as they both do have notification reminders. Now, Todoist does get a few more points because I did end up receiving a few start of the week or good morning texts from Todoist reminding me that I had tasks to be done in the day. That's obviously more helpful than Reminders that doesn't tell you if you have reminders in the day, but it will obviously notify you when the reminder does come up. Todoist also sent me emails whenever I hadn't completed a task, which I also think is a great way of notifying and making sure I complete whatever is on my list. And when they're both on the lock screen, they do both give you options to either snooze, postpone, or mark as completed. But I do prefer how Apple does it because I just think their options make more sense of reminding me in an hour, in the morning, or tomorrow, as opposed to Todoist's in 15 minutes, 3 hours, or at 9 a.m. Either way, that does come down to personal preference. As for ratings, they both do have great notification features, but Todoist slightly edges it out. So I'll give Todoist a 10 and give Apple Reminders a 9. And before we move on, I'd love to mention another great app and the sponsor of today's video, OneTap. If you're someone who's constantly copying links, notes, captions, or random bits of text on your phone, then you already know how annoying the iPhone clipboard can be. You copy one new thing and the last thing is already gone. That's where OneTap comes in. It basically gives you a much smarter clipboard experience by helping you keep track of the stuff you copy. So you don't have to keep going back, retyping things, or digging through apps trying to find that one link or sentence you had just a minute ago. For me, that's genuinely useful because I'm always moving stuff around on my phone, whether it's links, ideas, notes, pictures, or texts, for these videos. So having everything in one place just makes things faster and much less annoying. One Tap allows you to put all of your frequently used items right on the little globe in your keyboard, so anything you need is always going to be there. If any of that sounds useful to you, check out One Tap using the link below, and let's continue with the video. Next on our list is syncing across devices. Todoist obviously has its iPhone app, its Mac app, and you can also log in through the website and just keep it open in Chrome or Safari. It's also on Windows laptops in the same way, and its syncing across devices is pretty seamless. On the Apple side of things, if you're a person that has a full Apple ecosystem, the Reminders app will obviously be natively integrated into each device you have, which does make the syncing seamless as well. And if you are on a Windows laptop, you'd have to log in through Chrome or any web browser to use your reminders that way. Either way, the Reminders website isn't as intuitive as the Todoist one. So in this category, I'm gonna again have to give Todoist a 10 and Apple Reminders a solid 9. Next up is price and cost. And while I'm not using Todoist's paid version, I do know they have many versions ranging from the free plan to the $5 Pro plan, as well as the $8 business plan. And to be honest, in this day and age where every subscription is like $10 to $15 a month, having one that's only $5 does seem pretty good to me. And that's if you need the Pro version. For this entire test, I just used the free version of Todoist and I got along just fine and didn't feel that I was missing out on much that the Pro versions would offer me. And while Reminders doesn't have any paid plans and is free in its entirety. As for the ratings, I do think Reminders wins in this category because they give you everything for free. But Todoist isn't far behind considering their free version is really good and the prices they charge aren't absurd either. I'm giving Reminders a 10 and Todoist a 9. Next up is friction. By friction, I mean how easy it is to open the app and customize things, as well as add and remove tasks without the app feeling clunky or taking time away. In this category, I'm simply going to give both of them a 10. Once you get the handle on each app, adding and taking away reminders or adding attachments or notes isn't clunky in any way, and there's no friction. 10 for both. Moving on to recurring tasks, Todoist has slightly more features by allowing more customization with when the tasks repeat themselves. On the other hand, Apple Reminders doesn't stay far behind, offering a lot of customizability with their recurring tasks. I do think Apple's interface is a lot simpler and sleeker, but as for the actual features, it's another 10-9 for Todoist. Smart Input is the next thing on the list. Now, Smart Input is pretty much just how smart each app is when I add a task such as eat food at 9 a.m. and seeing whether it adds it as an actual task with a reminder or if it just keeps it as a regular task. Now, to really test this, I put each app through 3 different tasks. The first one was buy dog food at 9 a.m. The second one was buy dog food at 9 a.m. on the 18th. And the third one was buy dog food at 9 a.m. on the 18th every month. Now on tasks 1 and 2, they both handled it pretty similarly. Todoist was slightly better since it automatically adds it to the calendar, whereas in Apple, they pull up a little button that you then press to add it to the calendar. But apart from that, both were pretty good. Where they did differentiate though was in the last one. Todoist handled that task pretty easily, which actually surprised me. Apple Reminders, on the other hand, struggled a little bit when I wrote in the every month part. Before that, it was reading the task as having to add a reminder at 9 a.m. on the 18th. But as soon as you finish writing the word month, it doesn't really know what to do, and it cancels out all the repetition or reminders that it was going to add previously. Now granted, this isn't really a make or break since they both have good smart input, but Todoist's one was slightly better, so that just means another 10-9 for Todoist. Then we have widgets and quick access. This is another win for Todoist, and frankly, the easiest one so far. On both today views, we can see how Todoist structure is just much better, allowing more space for tasks, and the biggest thing, they add time and dates. Apple just throws out the tasks you have, but doesn't let you see at a glance which one is for when or what time. When changing the widget to show the upcoming tasks, as well as making it bigger, Todoist design here is just much better overall. While again, Apple just shoves all the tasks in your face with no information, Todoist shows you how many tasks you have per day, as well as the day, date, and time of each task, as well as allowing you to add tasks from the widget itself with the little plus button in the corner. I was honestly very surprised at how bad Apple did in this category, so I'm going to have to give Todoist a 10 for widgets because I just think they did amazing, while unfortunately giving Apple Reminders a 4 because they literally give you no information whatsoever on any of your tasks. As for reliability, this category is an easy 10 for both. I did do this test for a couple of days, and the reminders I had set the previous day did end up firing at the times they needed to correctly. And well, since they all held up well, it's an easy 10 for both. Moving on to shared lists and collaborations, they both have shared lists and collaborations, but I found Todoist's interface to just be way more helpful when adding a project or a team, and they also just have a lot more features for collaborations and group work. Apple's is pretty standard and doesn't offer anything revolutionary in terms of project work. I could definitely see whole teams using Todoist as a platform to organize and manage their tasks, but that's unfortunately not something I could see any team doing with Apple Reminders. Apple is going to get a 6 and Todoist gets a 10. Next up is free versus paid. So I did touch up on this slightly a few minutes ago, but how much of each app is locked behind a paywall and how much of it is free? Well, as we know, Apple Reminders is fully free, but there are some features that Apple Reminder has free that in Todoist you need to pay for. Starting first with having locations enabled on tasks. This is something that Apple has and actually does really well because I've used it before. It also has car detection, which is pretty cool, and Todoist on the other hand does offer location enabling but on a paid plan. Now I did get that paid plan on a free trial to see exactly how it worked. And well, it just allows you to get reminded in a certain location whether leaving or arriving, but that's pretty much it. There's no car detection, and while you can add multiple locations, they're not displayed in any way remotely appealing like in Apple Reminders. They're just kind of thrown out there, and it's your job to then know what address belongs to what place. As for Todoist's Pro plan, apart from the location setting, you also get deadlines, which seem to me like a pretty redundant feature unless I'm not understanding it to its entirety. I think you could just add a task to a certain day on the calendar and you'd know that that's the deadline of the task, but it's a feature they offer nonetheless. And apart from those two features, I couldn't really find more on the app, so I actually went onto their website to see what else they offered in the paid plan. And to be honest, it's a lot of things that I don't think the average person would use. There were only two features that I thought were cool, but not necessarily worth a subscription. The first one was a task duration feature, where you can estimate how much a task will take to make planning your days better. I guess that could be pretty useful, but it's a little overkill in my opinion. And then their custom task reminders was also a cool feature where they let you tweak the timing of automatic reminders as well as adding many reminders for one task. Again, a little overkill. I think if you needed many reminders, you could just create various tasks, but I guess you're paying for that exact convenience. And in all honesty, I don't think Todoist paid plan is all that good, but I do commend them on having such a great free app, because there's a lot of cool features they have that could definitely be paid for. As for the ratings, you still get really good features with Apple Reminders, and although Todoist is definitely better at many things than Apple is still offering all of those features for free, just slightly worse. So due to this, I'm gonna give Apple a 10 and I'm gonna give Todoist a 9, purely because Todoist actually has a paid plan, which Apple does not, which means there will always be the possibility that they change features or payment plans or take away features from the free plan to make it paid. And last but not least, the overall features. So here I'm just going to take a look at which app has more features and more useful ones at that. Starting off with Apple, we know about the location enabled reminders, which is a great feature to have, and they also have another really cool one, which is reminders when messaging. So many times we want to ask people certain things and we forget to. Well, Apple offers that as a feature, and that's something that Todoist doesn't have in any way. Apple also has subtasks for free, which Todoist has but paid. They also have the alarm feature, another really useful feature, especially for those people that might not be on their phone too much. Now, Todoist does have their own alarm feature, which works well, but it's paid. So you can either have it for free over on Reminders or pay $5 a month for it. Your choice. Over on Todoist side, they allow you to attach more things to each reminder that Apple doesn't. So you can attach images, which you can do over on Reminder, but you can't add files or audio recordings, which is pretty good on Todoist side. As I mentioned before, Todoist also has daily or morning notifications where they give a small summary and message on the things you have to achieve during the day. They also have a voice feature where you can add things using your voice. Now, although Reminders doesn't have this exactly as Todoist offers it, Apple does have Siri, which adds it automatically. So I guess it's pretty much the same thing. We've already talked about the sorting and filtering that Todoist offers, but it's definitely a useful feature that they do really well. In terms of projects and group collaborations, there's so many features that Apple doesn't even come close to. So here they all are. And as you can see, there's quite a lot. They also allow you to add teams, which is an insane feature, by the way. I got so confused just trying to set it up, but it's a thing apart from the project section where you have a dedicated team with folders and tasks and projects, and everyone on the team is automatically there always. It's like the project section, but a lot more in-depth and curated. Todoist also offers a small sort of recap section where they show you the tasks you've completed, a daily streak, and other records of your productivity. Not a make or break feature, but I guess it's nice to see. Apart from that, there might be smaller features that each to-do app has, but nothing that could really impact the way you use each app. So for the scores on general features, I think Todoist blows Apple out of the park when talking about overall features because of how well they implement the collaboration and projects. But since this review is more for a singular person's tasks and workflow, I think they both offer a pretty similar feature set, but with Todoist presenting those features in a better way. I'm honestly going to keep it at an even 8 for both because taking out the collaboration and team features, they both have the same ones, it's just that Todoist does them slightly better. So with all that being said, here's the entire tally for the entire chart. Out of 130, Apple Reminders got 111 points and Todoist got 126. It's safe to say that Todoist overall is the better to-do app, but it really depends on many factors of how you actually use your to-do app. If you're big on using Siri for reminders, then obviously Todoist won't be a fit because Siri just can't add reminders to the third-party apps. On the other hand, if you're really big on using widgets and you want everything at a quick glance, then Todoist is for you. They're both really good to-do apps, which honestly surprised me. I didn't expect Apple to have as many features as it did, and I didn't expect Todoist to be so polished. Either way, I gave you guys the chart and the live evaluation, so it's up to you which one you end up using. If you liked the video and would love to see more, go ahead and check my channel out. And if there's any other app comparisons or productivity reviews you want to see, let me know and I'll gladly do them. I thank you all so much for watching this video and OneTap for sponsoring it, and I'll see you all in the next one.